Hello, everyone. Charles Watts here. It is Wednesday. Welcome to another edition of Inside Arsenal. Wednesday, of course, means that it's match day. Arsenal in action later on this evening at Brentford in the Carabao Cup. Tough looking game, this one for Arsenal. So we're going to spend today's episode looking at the match, looking at who might feature, looking at what both managers have had to say. I'll do a predicted 11, which will be hopelessly wrong, because it is virtually impossible to predict an 11 for this one, but I'll give it a good go to see how wrong I'm going to be. So we'll look at that. Also discuss unfortunate injury to Sambi Lokonga as well. So let's get starting then, shall we? As I said, big game for Arsenal. So, well, is it a big game? I don't know. I mean, when you talk about the sort of levels of importance of the competitions that Arsenal are going to be playing in this season, this, of course, I think would be the lowest of the priorities. But having said that, I would very much like Arsenal to go on a good cup run in the Carabao Cup this year. Of course, you just want Arsenal to win every game. You want Arsenal to win trophies, and there's only 4 of them on offer, and 2 of them, probably 3 of them, but 2 of them are very, very hard to win. And so I don't think Arsenal are in a position just to throw away cup competitions by any means. So I'd like to see them have a really good crack at this one tonight. They do have a difficult game here. We know how strong Brentford are at home. They've only lost a few games, or they did get a bit of a beating by Everton in the Premier League. Was it last weekend or the weekend before that at home? So it'll be interesting to see how they respond to that one. Thomas Frank has been speaking ahead of the game. I was watching him today in his press conference, and he was certainly suggesting that they are going to go strong tonight. He was saying he wants a cup run. He said he's going to pick as strong a side as he possibly can for this one. So it suggests they're not going to make too many changes and will be near enough full strength. I don't think that is what we're going to see from Arsenal today. I think they will certainly make changes and they will not be at full strength. So it's going to be a really difficult game. But I still think Arsenal have got enough in their squad to produce a decent performance tonight. And there's going to be lots of attention, I think, focused on Emile Smith Rowe. Sam Dean at Telegraph, of course, good friend of this channel, been on a couple of times. I'll get him on again soon. He wrote a good piece that I retweeted today. If you haven't found it yet, go over to my social media or go straight to Sam's social media, and you'll find it. He's done a good piece in a sort of as a preview for this game on Smith Rowe. So in 499 days it has been since he last started a game for Arsenal. 499. It's mad. You got to go all the way back to that horrible night at Newcastle, when Arsenal's top 4 chances were blown away at the end of the previous season, not last season, the season before that. That was the last time Smith Rowe started. 499 games for a player who was so important, who was one of the first names on the team sheet not so long ago. It's been a pretty mad sort of fall away from prominence, really. Yes, there's been injuries and stuff like that, but I don't think you can just put it down to injuries. Mikel, actually, I'll bring that. I've got the quotes here. Mikel's been speaking about him a lot in the build up to this game. He spoke a lot about in the embargoed section of the press conference he held last night. So the quotes weren't in the live section; they went in the papers for this morning. And there were a lot of the questions were centered around Emile. And this is what he had to say about Emile. He said, well, there's been many reasons why he hasn't started. Obviously, he was out for a long time, and then he had a sequence of matches that he played with the national team. He's talking about the Euros there in the summer, the under-21s Euros England won. So he's played more minutes now, and tomorrow he'll have a big chance to show that he can play at this level and can be a really important player for us. Obviously, we speak with our players and we try to explain the reason why we make certain decisions, but he's clear on what he needs to do, which is performing on the pitch and giving the best to win games for us. He's incredibly popular. We all love him. It's no different what the people feel and what we feel about him. But one thing is to be there. The other one is to start. And once you start, you are consistent and stay there. And you have to stay fit as well. He was then asked about Emile's best position. He said best position is to play in those pockets. I think it suits him. I think the relationship will suit him. Now he needs more minutes and needs to prove to us that what he can do. So he says he's not a natural, he's not an out-and-out winger. And of course, when Smith Rowe was, say, sort of playing all the time, week in, week out, he was playing on the wing for Mikel Arteta. He was playing on the left, but Mikel's saying very much now he sees him as one of those players drifting into the pockets. And I don't know, I was looking at some of those comments, and I just think with Mikel, I don't, when he talks about Smith Rowe, there's lots of stuff he says that just doesn't really make that much sense to me. Like when he says he's played more minutes, I mean, he's played a few minutes. He came on for 3 minutes at the weekend against Tottenham. And he says tomorrow, which means tonight, he'll have a big chance to show us that he can play at this level. He's already shown that he can play at this level, Smith Rowe. I don't think he needs to show that he can do that because he's proven that before. He's done it at the very top level for Arsenal in the Premier League. Proven him. He was top goal scorer 2 seasons ago in open play. I think it was 10 goals in 33 league games. So, he's already shown he can be an important player, and he's already proven that he can play at this level. So I'm not sure when I see Mikel saying stuff like that, I really agree with the sort of explanation he's given him for why he's not playing too much. And, he talks about the injuries, but he's been injury free for a long time now. Once he came back from that surgery he had sort of second half last season, he was fit the whole time, injury free, pain free, but he just didn't use him. He didn't give him the minutes to prove himself. And that's where I sort of take exception when I listen to when Mikel talks about Emile Smith Rowe. I don't think a lot of his words make too much sense in terms of the situation and how it's been handled. But the good thing is it looks like certainly he's going to start tonight. And we all saw the reaction Smith Rowe got when he came off the bench in the game against Man United. Against PSV, how popular he is, and the fans love him and they want him because they can see he's just one of the sort of players, Smith Rowe, who gets you off your seat when he's playing well and he's flying. The way he runs at players, the way he can score from midfield, he's just one of those type of players that gets you off your seat and you want to see play. Plus, obviously, he's homegrown, he's a Hale End boy, and there's that connection there, and that's why he is so popular, and that's why so many fans want to see him get more minutes and get frustrated when he doesn't get maybe the minutes that he needs to at least show what he can do. And he's almost like, I spoke about this on yesterday's show. If you haven't watched it yet, the extra time myself and James Benj put out, and we spoke about it a little bit. And I almost feel like he's under a little bit of unfair pressure now because he doesn't play. When he does get some chances, like he will tonight, which will be his first start in 499 days, that he's under so much pressure to perform because if he doesn't, he knows he's not going to get another opportunity. In a way, that's kind of unfair. But then I also think, well, it is elite sport at the end of the day. So you're going to be under that pressure. And he's always been under pressure when he's played. When he came into the team way back when in that game against Chelsea on Boxing Day when Arsenal were awful and there was, lots of spotlight being shed on the team. He was under pressure then to perform and he did it and he handled it really, really well. So I just hope he handles it well tonight. I hope he plays really well tonight and makes an impact, and that leads to him getting more minutes because he's such a talented player. He's got so much to give that you just want to see him given more opportunities, and you feel like he needs to take these opportunities to get those extra opportunities. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting what happens with Emile. Team news headed tonight. Mikel was speaking at the press conference yesterday, and he basically confirmed there's no Rice, no Trossard, no Martinelli, no Partey. He also confirmed there's no Saka. On Declan Rice, he said Declan hasn't trained yet. He could not carry on in the game against Tottenham. He wasn't comfortable at all. Hopefully it's not something big. We are confident. He's still uncomfortable. Obviously, he had to leave the pitch, and that's never a good sign for a player like him. But hopefully he'll progress in the next few days. It's a tough one. Trossard won't be available. Let's see day by day how he improves and whether he's got a chance for the weekend or not. He did some activity, and that's when he felt it. He wasn't comfortable to carry on the session the day before the Spurs game, and he hasn't trained yet, so he's not available for tomorrow. It also says tomorrow is too short for Gabriel. Martinelli, he means let's see if we still have this for the weekend, but those players won't be available tomorrow. Thomas is still not available either. It's a long list, as you said. It's the same with Urian, you know that one. And it's a situation we have at the moment. We have to adapt. The squad that we have at the moment is really short. We need players back. That is for sure. So yeah, I mean, it is a bit worrying when you look at that. When you look at that injury list at the moment, you haven't even sort of added Saka onto that. He does talk about Saka. He says he was limping quite badly after the Tottenham match. As you know, we had to get him off the field, which is never a good sign as well. He hasn't been able to participate in the training sessions yet. He was then asked, could he be out at Bournemouth this weekend on Saturday? And he said it's a possibility. Yes. So not ideal. Bit worrying when you look at the size of that team injury list, especially when you look at the importance of the players there. Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, Gabriel Martinelli, Leandro Trossard, Bukayo Saka. I mean, you're talking about really, really influential big players in this Arsenal team. You want them involved. And for them to be out is a worry. The good thing is, as I reported yesterday, Declan Rice's injury is not as bad as it first looked like it might have been. So there is a chance he'll be back for Bournemouth. Thomas Partey, as I said, from my understanding, Thomas Partey is very much hoping he might be able to get back from Manchester City. If he does that, then he is ahead of schedule, definitely. But, whether he makes it to Man City, ultimately, that's going to be a decision for Arsenal and for the medical team. But Partey himself is very much targeting that game as a potential match to return. And if that is the case, then that's a good couple of weeks early because initially when the injury happened, they were looking at after the international break. So that's a good sign. Martinelli and Trossard as well, while they're out tonight, they are progressing pretty well. So hopefully they're not going to be out long term either. So while right now you look at that injury list and it is a bit of a concern, a bit of a worry, there is sort of light in the end of the tunnel with it. And hopefully they will not be out for too long, barring Yuri and Timber, who, of course, we know is not going to be back for a while with that horrible knee injury he picked up on the opening day of the season. Okay, let's go with the predicted 11 now, shall we? This is going to be so wrong, and you're all going to laugh at me. And I fully admit this is going to be wrong. It's just really hard because we don't know what Mikel's going to do. We don't know if he's going to give any youngsters a chance. Who's going to play where? It's honestly, this is the hardest one to predict of the season so far for me, and this is going to be terribly wrong, I know. But this is what I'm predicting. I'm going Ramsdale in goal. I think Ramsdale plays this one. I'd be very, very surprised if David Raya comes in. I'm going to go with Raul Walters as the right back. Trained a lot, trained yesterday with this team. I think he might get the nod at right back, and that might mean Tomiyasu playing over on the other side at left back. And I've gone for Kivior and Saliba. There's even a chance Lino Souza, he trained yesterday. There's a chance he could potentially be at left back. So you could have two youngsters on the fullbacks, and that would maybe allow Saliba to have the day off, and you play Tomiyasu and Kivior together at centre back. So we'll see what happens there. I think Jorginho will play as the 6. And then going forward, this is where I think, it's really hard. I've put Kozia Dubry there as right winger. The more I look at that, the more I think, that's not going to happen. I don't think it'll be. Maybe Vieira will play on the right, and then you could potentially play El Neni and Jorginho in the midfield together with Smith Rowe. Because I've gone with Havertz as the 9. I think Havertz will play. He didn't start the weekend. I think Mikel wouldn't see this as another chance to try and get him a goal, just to boost that confidence level a little bit, make him feel more settled. And I've gone for Havertz playing as the 9. But there is, obviously, he could play Havertz and Smith Rowe together in the midfield there ahead of Jorginho. I think Reece will definitely start on the left. And if Havertz does play deeper, then maybe Nketiah will play up front, leading the line. So that's what I've gone for here. It's going to be wrong. Don't take it too seriously or anything like that. Let me know in the comments below as well what starting 11 you would like to see. How, should anyone be risk? Any of the main players be risk given the injuries Arsenal already suffering? Let me know your 11s, put them down. But the more I'm looking at that on screen now, if you're watching this on YouTube, the more I'm doubting myself and thinking that's not going to happen. Is it? He's not going to play Kozia Dubry, but we shall see. So there I've gone for Ramsdale, Walters, Saliba, Kivior, Tomiyasu, Jorginho, Vieira, Smith Rowe, Kozia Dubry, Nelson, and Havertz. But I'm sure that will be very, very wrong. A comment here from Kelvin. He says, I think we should try Kai as the striker for the Brentford game. And as you see, that's what I initially went with as well. And I do agree, kind of, Kelvin. Like I said, I think it's really important that Havertz plays this game. He didn't start the weekend. I don't think he'll start against Bournemouth either. I don't know. Maybe he will. It depends on if Tommy as either of the two left wingers are fit or not. But if they are, I don't think he'll start at Bournemouth. So I see this game as another opportunity for Havertz, and I've quite liked what I've seen of him when he's played as a 9. I've liked that more than when I've seen him play as the left 8 at the moment, which in a way is a worry because he's been signed to play the left 8, and it's not performing very well there. But it does give you another option up front. And so I can see maybe Kai having as a player playing as a central striker. It gives Arsenal more of a target man, someone who holds the ball up a little bit more. But we do know Eddie is very strong in this competition. He likes to score goals in the Carabao Cup. So maybe Mikel, that will sway Mikel's thinking. And if Gabriel Jesus is going to come back, which I hope he does as the central striker in the Premier League at the weekend against Bournemouth, then, Eddie might be given a bit of a rest, and that means he could play tonight. So there are lots of options. It's all up in the air. I mean, if I was Thomas Frank and I was Brentford right now, I wouldn't have a clue what Arsenal are going to do, and I'm trying to sort of prepare for the game. I think it's just literally like throwing darts at a dartboard and hoping, seeing what number comes up. It's just so difficult to predict. So we'll see on that. But as I said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below in terms of your starting 11. Before I go today, just needed to mention this, which is really disappointing for Sambi. He's obviously gone over to Luton. He started the season with them, getting lots of minutes in the Premier League. Obviously, Luton are struggling, but for Sambi, it's been a really good opportunity to play and get minutes and start to get into a rhythm again. And now he's gone and fallen, really unfortunately, foul of another injury. He's announced it here on his social media. He says he'll be focused on his recovery and supporting the team during that time. See you in a couple of months. So it's not even a short-term thing, which is which is a real blow. Like he says at the top of this, I thought it was time to enjoy playing this beautiful game called football and working hard to help my teammates to reach our goal as a team. So, he looked at this as a real opportunity to get some minutes now and to start playing football again, which is obviously what he wants. So to suffer this injury is really, really disappointing for him. And Arsenal will be disappointed as well. They've sent Sambi out on loan to get minutes and play in the Premier League. Whether he's got a future at Arsenal is probably unlikely, but they still want him to get minutes, and then it will certainly help with selling him potentially next summer. So for him to now miss a couple of months, and you don't know where Luton are going to be when he comes back, as the team moved on without him, that sort of thing. It's a real blow for him, really disappointing. I do feel sorry for Sammy. I'm sure he'll come back to Arsenal now and he'll do his recovery there. And then hopefully, maybe they can get him back ahead of schedule and it won't be quite the 2 months that he's looking at. But really disappointing for Sammy. I do feel sorry for him. All right, that's it from me, everyone, for today's episode. Thank you very much for watching or listening around the world, wherever you have been tuning in from. Do have a very good end to your Wednesday. And if you're going to the match tonight, enjoy it. If you're going to watch it or find somehow a way to watch it, it's not on the UK, it's not live on the UK over here, obviously. I hope you enjoy the games, and I'll be back tomorrow to discuss what's hopefully going to be a nice Arsenal victory in the League Cup. Speak to you soon, everyone. Bye-bye.